Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're working on this mid-century modern dresser and it needs a lot of work done, but that is okay because we only paid $45 for it. So at the thrift store, the first thing that we do is we check for anything that needs to be repaired. We move all the drawers in and out, and this one we noticed was having a little bit of difficulty. So we pulled the drawer out to see what the problem was, and it was a broken drawer runner, but that is okay because that's a pretty easy fix. We also noticed that every drawer had a drawer liner in it, so we wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be too difficult to remove the drawer liners. Some of them can be very stubborn, and we're just going to have to wait and see what the damage is like underneath these drawer liners and see if there's a reason that they put them in and if we'll have to do the same thing. And then it was time to head home and film a little before of the dresser. And then it was time to get started. We got this stripper out and applied it with a chip brush and just went to town on it. And we noticed that the blue layer was coming up very, very quickly, and we saw the second layer of paint underneath it, which is like this yellow color. So we're going to remove the first layer of paint and see what's underneath it. As you can see, the first and even the second layer of paint are coming up very easily, and the blue paint is actually just kind of bubbling up of itself and just kind of coming off into chunks, and so that was very easy. But the white layer that was underneath it is going to be the most stubborn, I think. So we're going to apply it and let it sit there for a little bit, and after we let it sit for a bit longer than we did the blue paint, it was easy to scrape off. After that, it was on to cleaning it. So what we use to clean is acetone or lacquer thinner, and today we're using lacquer thinner. And what we do is we get a wool brush and we use the wool brush to scrub it, and this deactivates the stickiness of the stripper. It cleans the piece as well as removing any stubborn paint or stain that was left behind. And since we had the dresser turned onto its side, it made it easy to get to these legs. So we did the same thing, applied the stripper with the chip brush, and you can just see the blue paint coming right off. And this was a little bit difficult to kind of scrape off. I ended up going with a steel brush later to kind of help scrub around the edges, but it was a lot easier to get the paint off of this than it was the side of the piece. Then it was time to move on to the next leg, and I know that I see all these cobwebs and everything in here. I did get a vacuum and I vacuumed all of that up, so the bottom is nice and clean now. But the same thing, applied the stripper, used some lacquer thinner, and just kind of gave it a nice good scrub down with this, and there's the brush that I was talking about earlier. After that, it was time to flip it over again, and we worked on the frame, and this was pretty satisfying to watch. We also got the sides of this while we had it on its side and cleaned it up nice and clean, got the base. We're trying to sell this to make sure that this doesn't have any evidence of any past paint colors, so we had a lot of cleaning that we had to do. Now to flip it back up onto its feet for the most gratifying process of this entire stripping process, which was the top. This is where we can just pour the stripper on, let it sit for a bit, and watch the paint come right off. And then apply the next layer, and this is where Matt came in to help me out. He followed me with the lacquer thinner and applied it, and then I just followed him and just scraped the rest of it off, and then we gave it a good wipe down. And a little public service announcement, don't forget to do the bottoms of the inside of the drawers, because when you pull it out, you'll keep seeing what was left behind. So we had to get all of that out to make sure that we didn't see any blue, yellow, or white paint that was previously done, and get it all gone. And after that, we cleaned it up. The next day, Matt did all the drawers, and he kind of left the stripper on for a lot longer, and I think that was the key to it because it came off so easily. And then we finished it with the lacquer thinner, and then all the drawers were stripped down and ready to go. Our ideal plan for this was to stain the entire piece, but as you can see, there's a lot of damage, a lot of stains. The one drawer has a chunk missing from it, so we know we're going to have to paint some of this. I'm going to give it a custom finish look, so it'll still have like a wood look to it. Now on to sanding the drawers. You can see that there's a lot of paint and a lot of gunk. We're just going to clean these up and make them look brand new. So I'm giving you a little 360 view here. And we're going to use our 3x4 electric ray to do this, and we'll walk you through the whole process. So here's the 3x4 electric ray. It has the hose attached to it, to the vacuum system, and we're going to go with a 120 screen pad to begin. And this screen pad has all these itty bitty tiny holes so that as you're sanding, it goes straight through to the hose, and it acts like a traditional sandpaper. The drawer liners thankfully came out so easy, and the damage to the bottom wasn't really that bad as of right now. With going through all the drawers, we haven't seen anything that we can't fix ourselves, and the white overspray will come right off with the sander. So this is the time lapse of cleaning out the bottom with the 120, and it just looks brand new. It looks so good. And after we do the bottom of the inside of the drawer, we're going to go on to the inside sides of the drawers and remove all of that excess overspray with the white paint. And of course, we're going to have to get rid of this white paint here on the bottom. Our goal is to just get rid of all the evidence of blue, yellow, and white paint. So that is what we are doing here. And we are even going to do the sides that you typically don't see, but we're going to clean it up and make it look, again, brand new. And here's a quick look at the drawers. So now we're going to work on the top and the front. As you can see, this has a lot of curved details. The handle is a curve, so you can see we are going to use our 3x4 electric ray. We're going to disconnect the 120 screen pad, and we're going to add this squishy pad onto the bottom of the 3x4 electric ray, which will allow us to bend around the curves. Then we're going to use a 180 screen pad, so it's a little bit more gentle on the wood, and put it directly onto that squishy additional pad. And now we can bend around the curves like so. We can hug all those curves so easily, and it'll make sanding this drawer a breeze. So what we're trying to accomplish when we are sanding all of this out is we are trying to get any of the scratches out, because regardless if we are going to stain or paint, any of these scratches is going to show even in our paint. So we're going to try and make it as smooth as possible, and also get rid of any of the scratches or dings. Another thing that I love about using the screen pads is that you can offset it a little bit by moving it up, so it kind of goes beyond the 3x4 electric ray, and you can use it to get into places that are typically a little bit more difficult for other sanders. And here is a look at the finished drawer. Looks brand new, all nice and clean, and it is ready to go. Here are some of the already sanded ones, and you can see how nice they look. That is a pine knot on there, it's not a stain. And then here are some drawers that we still have to get to. Here's another up close look at the drawer, and we love that wood grain, so I think that we're definitely going to try to do whatever we can to keep that wood grain, even if we have to keep a wood grain look. And here is the top drawers getting finished one by one. Did a little time lapse there, and then it was on to the frame. So we went with 120, and then we finished off with 180. This is the 6-inch orbital festal sander, and I liked to use it on any straight edges that I can get to, and I got all of the excess finish off of the frame with this. It also fit to where I could get on to either side of the drawer runner, and really just doing this made it look so much better. But don't forget that you have to vacuum out your piece, because since it was on every single side, a lot of gunk got into the back. But stay tuned for part 2 to see how we finish this.